Adam in New York.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, so take you off speakerphone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I had a question. I didn't want to put words in your mouth, so I didn't want to presume to know why you guys are on the show and why you guys are working for the organization that you are. So
Thanks.
I was curious how you would state your kind of mission statement. Either of you, I don't know, what you try to accomplish doing
Sure.
the show.
I want to change the world. I want to eliminate religion.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just curious. Do you want to change the world for your kids? Is it limited to your lifetime, or is it kind of a state of mind? The fact that you're working towards making a better world, is that the goal?
Yeah, both. I mean, the fact that people right now are benefiting from what we've done on the show, and people in the future will benefit too. You get benefit both ways.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess I'm an atheist, and I'm curious. I've watched this. I've seen it a few times. I enjoy the show. I just I don't see why it seems like a sacrifice for me to generate kind of negativity that you would in Austin, especially in Austin, Texas, or even where I live in New York. It seems like a thing that kind of draws a lot of negative feedback, and perhaps for a person who expects to live one lifetime, it might be the cause of some strife and stress. At least it has been for me. I wouldn't try to attribute the values of atheism or the way people see atheism to my name. You know what I mean? Draw attention to that fact. So I guess I'm curious why I guess if you didn't expect to accomplish that goal of creating a better world within your lifetime, whether you think that state of mind is worth the cost. I guess I don't know if you see it as a cost. I do, but
well, I'm already achieving my goals on a regular basis. But even if I wasn't, I'm of the opinion that there's value in truth, and there's value in doing what you can to make the world a better place. So yeah, I mean, not everybody's going to agree that the effort's worth it. Just reasons for doing this may be different from mine. I don't know.
No, I have the same reasons as Matt. I can report, having been involved with the show off and on for a long time, that I think what you are saying is that you imagine that this puts us in some kind of danger, or puts us face to face with angry people on a regular basis, or has some kind of other major negative consequences. No. The occasional angry email, and of course the callers that we deal with is about it. It's no big deal. Now, your situation may well be different, and you have to make a decision for yourself what you care strongly enough about to speak about, and that's entirely your choice.
Yeah, and Austin isn't the kind of place where I'd really worry about that. But personally, as long as I could actually find a way to pay for the security, I'd do this show anywhere. I'd do it in the middle of Iraq if I could.
Really?
Sure.
I guess that's my question. I certainly see. I mean, if I were in Iraq, I would feel. Well, I wasn't talking about physical harm, but I think that is one of the potential drawbacks to allowing people to kind of peer into your head and get an impression of what you believe that might rub them the wrong way. I mean, if you say that you're an atheist in a room full of evangelical Christians, they may try to save you and then get frustrated, and you might draw negative attention to yourself. I just don't see. I don't necessarily. I'm not so. I don't know. I'm not so caught up in what people think of me or my opinions that it would be a huge psychological cost. But I think your day-to-day life in I guess maybe Austin might be a nice place to live for an atheist, but if in Iraq might be seriously.
Sure.
It seems like if you could live your life and delude everyone about what you thought and your opinions, why not?
You've a couple of times you've brought up this thing about within our lifetimes. What does that matter?
Well,
do you think something about atheism means, eliminates the validity of caring about how things wind up long term, even after we're gone?
Yes.
Really? Why?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think. I think what people call moral objectivity in the sense that there are these tenets or rules that can apply to you that aren't autonomous rules that you created to kind of navigate in this society. I think if you're creating those rules yourself, they can be objective, and it wouldn't really be, the word wouldn't refer to the same thing. But when people are referring to objective morals, like I think murder's wrong because it's wrong,
Adam,
yeah.
How the hell did we get to morality?
Well, we're talking about doing a TV show.
I guess I thought what you were asking was. How would you frame what you're asking? Are you asking me whether as an atheist I feel like my day-to-day...
You exhibited surprise that, or you were questioning why we would want to do this show. My interpretation of what you said was that it seems interesting to you that we would do this show as we are atheists, and why would we care about how the world is going to be after we are gone? Because you kept talking about whether we thought that any changes would happen within our lifetimes. I don't see how that's relevant, or how atheism impacts whether or not it's valid for us to care how the world's going to be after we're gone.
And my simple take on this, really quick is, I don't know if you've read anything by Colonel Ingersoll, who lived at the end of the 19th century. Great stuff. Go to infidels.org sometime, look in the historical library, look up Ingersoll. Some of the stuff he wrote is amazing. He's a big hero of mine. He was dead long before I was born, and yet the fact that his words have been saved, and they seriously impacted my life and made my life better, that's something I value. So the fact that these shows will live on, whether I die today or 50 years from now or whenever, the fact that this information is going to continue, and that we took steps to provide that information, is something I can actually value now, knowing that it's going to be better later.
I do see that, and I guess that is where I was coming from. I understand that your benefits will be in the here and now, even if they pertain to things that happen after you're gone. But I see the cost-benefit analysis. If you're looking at it like, well, here now I expect that the world will be a better place, or I'm contributing to a better world in the future, that can give you a positive incentive to continue doing what you're doing, and it'll be instantly gratifying and stuff like that. I understand that, but isn't it enough? I guess because it doesn't seem even close in my life. I guess I don't have a community of atheists to come to go kind of join with it, but I have a large percentage of the people that I meet are atheists. But even among my atheist friends, I do get the impression that if I were capable of deluding them into believing that I had this really great moral compass that came from, and I believed in this transcendent being, and I was, just thoroughly convinced by it, that I would be more trustworthy. I would have this kind of earnest quality to my. It would appear to them that I were holding myself accountable when no one were watching.
Okay.
Because God would be watching me in that scenario. I mean, it seems like I could get a lot more out of being deluded.
Adam, hang on.
Those seem like rather unusual atheist friends you've got there, but okay. And so what? Where are you going with this? Are you moving in the direction of saying, oh, well, we should lay off of religion because it's such a useful tool for helping people put on a facade of trustworthiness? What are you talking about?
I don't know if it's a we statement. I guess it seems like personally, I don't see why you or the person sitting next to you would make their own decision to do it. I believe that your organization, I'm glad it's around. I want it to be around. I think your political agenda actually runs pretty parallel.
We haven't got a political
the organization
agenda.
Runs pretty parallel with mine. In that I would like a secular, secular state with rules which have nothing to do with theocracy or God or spiritual dimension or anything like that. I'm with that, but I don't see why in the culture that we do live in, with the time that we are given, someone would take that kind of cost-benefit problem and turn it into their problem.
We already told you there has not been a big cost. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I put in a few hours once every, 4 or 5 weeks. I'm here as a co-host. You know, Matt's here more often. It's not that big of a deal. We're not like having to skulk around town avoiding angry Christians. In the decade that I have been involved in this, more than a decade, huh?
Or Muslims. I don't have to avoid
never once have I had an encounter with an angry Christian in public who said, "Oh, I saw you on that show. I'm so mad." Bunches of times, out of nowhere, I have met people from around town who said, "Oh, you're on that show. I love that show." And not only that, I can report that, you know, comparing the state of the world a state of society, when I first started being involved in this show with the way it is now, vast improvement. Vast. I can now get on the internet and immediately be hanging out with a bazillion other atheists, if I feel so inclined. That there is, in fact, a movement. I don't know how much credit, if any, this show can take, but certainly we haven't done any harm in helping to shift society in that direction, and that has been of immediate personal benefit to me.
The thing is, everybody's going to have to do the cost-benefit analysis on their own, and we've talked before, you know, I want as many out atheists as we can have, but I've also told people that if coming out puts your life, your career, your happiness in general just in danger, then, you know, maybe it's not the right time for you yet. But when you're talking about, oh, if I could actually dupe them into thinking that I was a believer with a, quote, good moral compass and was trustworthy, I think that, first of all, those of us who are out are doing what we can to make the world a better place so that everybody can come out. And I'm also here to point out that they don't have a good moral compass, and they're not more trustworthy. In fact,
I'm in agreement. I want to rephrase that. I didn't mean good moral compass. I just meant you can bet that if I'm driving my own morals, one would think that if I'm driving my own morals, that they aren't necessarily going. They may jive with someone else's. Whereas if I were some earnest believer of these like tenets, which served some purpose that came from a second, you know, some third party source, then it might lend itself to being a little more accommodating to other people than I would choose to in my own autonomous morality.
I have no idea.
You know what I mean?
I have no idea why you would leap to that conclusion.
Well, it seems I know that we're living in a social. If you weren't in a social world
go ahead. You're on
religion
hold.
does have a reputation, right? An undeserved reputation in our society for being the source of good behavior. Okay, fine. I'm again surprised if you characterize your atheist friends as people who believe that religion deserves that reputation. But even so what? I think Matt and I are having trouble seeing what your point is.
A good reputation as it is a.
You were curious why we were doing the show. We've explained it. That the negative consequences you seem to think we might be facing are, in fact, either not so big or non-existent. We've explained that, you know, if you must boil it down to a cost-benefit analysis, instead of merely feeling like we have as much right as the next person to speak our minds, that, in fact, the cost-benefit analysis is already going our way. So I don't know what's left other than, you know, you have these ideas in your head about what the costs to you might be to do the same thing, and that's fine. Don't do it. Nobody's asking you to be on a TV show or be out as an atheist. But I would ask you to go back and reconsider whether you want to latch on to this undeserved reputation that religion has. But other than that, what else do we have to talk about?
The other thing, well, the aspect of this really bugs me, and I just did a big talk about firebrands versus accommodationists and this constant bull crap that keeps coming up, is religions, by and large, aren't good moral systems. They aren't even moral systems.
That's what I was going to address. I don't believe that.
Damn.
I didn't mean that they were good moral systems. I just meant that they were.
I understood what you meant.
You could I guess you could access it without a social construct.
For Christ's sake, I understood what you meant. Stop interrupting me. Okay. The thing is, they're not moral systems. Christianity is immoral from the ground up. Islam is immoral from the ground up. But what they've done is they've conned the world into thinking that they are moral systems, and it becomes a social shorthand to say, oh, you're like me and you believe these things and we're both good people. And I find when I do my cost-benefit analysis, I don't just consider the immediate personal cost to me. I attempt to consider the long-term, broader costs to everyone of the continuation of a system that shows preference for religious beliefs that are divisive and harmful. And I'm not a martyr. I'm not trying to sacrifice myself, and I'm not putting my own interests aside, because as I change the world, I benefit too. I just have a longer, broader view of it than most people seem to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we do what we do.
Anything else, Adam?
No, that's good. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Adam.